Good morning, students. So, we are going to start Kent's repertory. We know about Dr. James Tyler Kent, who was MD, and we learn about Dr. Kent in philosophy, organon and philosophy in first, second, third years. So the full name of Dr. Kent was James Tyler Kent. He was born in Woodhull, New York, and he graduated from the Eclectic Medical Institute of Cincinnati and started his practice at St. Louis as an eclectic physician. Dr. James Tyler Kent, he was professor of anatomy at American College of St. Louis and was a very hard working doctor. When once his wife fell ill in 1878, she did not respond either to eclectic or allopathic mode of treatment and was cured with homeopathy. So he this converted him to homeopathy and he completely devoted himself to study the homeopathic literatures. He studied all the literatures or material related to homeopathy whatever present before his time, and within a short period of time he became a famous teacher as well as a famous homeopathic practitioner. Okay, so this was the introduction of Dr. Kent, and Kent was very famous as a high potency homeopath. Previously, when he was practicing, he began his practice with low potencies, but he was not satisfied at all with the low potency. And later, he resolved to test the 30th potency to see if there any result with the 30th potency, and then afterwards he was using the 200 1m 50m cm dm and mm potency made on centesimal scale. So Dr. Kent, he was introduced the doctrine of series in degrees. Then he discovered the law of vital action and reaction, which also you have learned in your organon and philosophy. Then he proved many new medicines which he described in his book, New Remedies, Clinical Cases, Lesser Writings, Aphorisms and Precepts. So this is all Dr. Kent's contribution to the homeopathy, and he was emphasized a detailed study of the expression of the whole person who is sick. He, according to Dr. Kent, not a single part or not a organ is sick, but the whole person is sick. So he gave importance to study all the symptoms in order to understand the disorders which take place from center to periphery, from inward to outward. Means, according to Dr. Kane, we should first consider the inward disturbances and then we go towards the outward expressions which was felt by the sick person. A man consists of, what is man? Man is nothing but his body, his mind and his spirit, and he is known to us by his total behavior. So what is man? Man is nothing but his body, his mind, his spirit, and all these things which are together is nothing but a man. So there is a common existing in all, but there also exists something uncommon which makes an individual different from other. So in person to person, though there is the near about the same structure of body, there is mentals, they are but there are some characteristic or unknown structure from one person to other person which differs one person from the other person. So we should find out that unknown or uncommon structure from the that person. To understand the nature of disease and to form an image of the whole should be given primarily importance and the organ or tissues secondary. So according to Dr. Kent, we should give primary importance to the whole person, not his sick part or sick organ or his disease condition. But we should not consider his disease condition, but we should consider the man as a whole. So this is the concept of Dr. Kent. And according to his concept of man as a whole, we should consider man as a whole, not his single part or organ. So he classified the symptoms into mainly three parts: general symptoms, particular symptoms, and common symptom. In general symptom, he again classified the general symptom into two different groups, that is mental general and physical general. So more emphasis on the general and uncommon particular which characterize a person and his disease. Dr. Kent, he gave more importance to the general symptoms and then he go towards the particulars. But in particular symptoms also, the uncommon particular symptoms which characterize a person and his disease condition, we should give importance to those symptoms. So Kent's totality is erected according to the following points, or according to the following things we should erect the totality, or we should give importance to the symptoms while analysis and evaluation. So while when we repertorize the case or when we working on the case, then according to the Kent's criteria, we should give first importance to mental general, then we go towards the physical general, and then towards the particular in that characteristic particulars. So in mental general, we should give first importance to will, then his understanding, and then thirdly we should give importance to the memory. So in will, which things we should consider, which things came under the will. So under will, the anger, the when the anger comes, how the patient become angry or which conditions make the patient angry. Then irritability, which conditions make the person irritable. Love, hate, fear, grief, anxiety, and sadness, these things come under the will, or according to these things we should give importance to the symptoms in the case. So in case, if these things, anger, irritability, love, hate to anybody, then fear of anything, grief about anything, anxiety about anything, or sadness, the reason behind the sadness, these things comes first line in the our priority while analysis, during analysis and evaluation of the case, or during making the portrait or totality of the symptoms or portrait of the disease. Then perversion of understanding. After will there comes understanding. Then which things came under this point or under understanding. So in this, under this point, all hallucinations, all type of illusions, absorbed, confusion, dullness, all these things came under the understanding. So we should consider all these things secondly, and lastly under mind we should consider the symptoms related to memory. Which symptoms came under memory? That are absent minded, forgetful, mistakes in writing or mistakes in while talking, then any speech disorder if there, then they came under the memory. So in Kent, according to Dr. Kent, we should go from inside to outward or inward to outside. We should go while considering the patient. We should not give importance to his disease condition, his disease part or disease organ. We should consider the man as a whole, not his part or body. So we should give first importance to mind according to Dr. Kent. And in mind we should first give importance, or we should first take the symptoms related to will, then the symptoms related to understanding, and lastly the symptoms related to memory. Under will we should give or take the first the symptoms related to anger, irritability, love, hate, fear, grief, anxiety and sadness. Then under understanding we should consider the symptoms related to hallucination, illusion, absorbed, confusion and dullness. And under under memory, if there are any changes in the memory before and after some or since some particular time, then it should be considered. The symptoms related to memory are absent minded, forgetful, mistakes in writing, mistakes while speaking, then if there are any speech disorders. So these are the symptoms related to mind, and in this pattern or in this way we should write down the symptoms related to mind according to their importance. So in this way the mental general symptoms we should sort out or we should write down. Then the physical general symptoms. After mental general symptoms came the physical general symptoms, because the if there are changes at the mental level, then there changes or disturbances takes place at the mental level, then there may be chances of disturbances at the physical level also. So physical general level, so we should consider the all the symptoms if there are any changes in the physical at the physical general level. So perversion of sexual sphere including menstrual symptom, if there are any changes in the menstrual cycle, so we should consider all symptoms including menstrual symptoms. Then general aggravation before, during and after menses, effects of coition, etc. Then under physical general, most important things came under physical general are appetite, desire, aversion, food aggravation if there, then thirst, then sleep, dreams, perspiration, then urine, stool or bowel habits. All these things came under the physical general. So after menstrual symptoms, if there are any changes or any aggravations before, during, after menses, then effects of coition, after these things we should consider the symptoms pertaining to appetite, then food desire, food aversion, and thirst related symptoms. So the things affecting the entire body, like weather, temperature, food, position, and motion, these things are also very much important to considered while writing the physical general symptoms, because through these things we get the thermal of the patient, as well as if there are any changes in these things, if there is change in whether the patient causes some symptoms, or if there is change in temperature, or temperature changes which causes the which affect the person, if the change in the food it affect the person, or position or motion which affect the person or his physical body or mental state, then these symptoms are very very much important. Then the symptoms of special senses, so these all came under the physical general symptoms. So after mental general we should give importance in this sequence to the physical general symptoms, and then lastly we go towards the particular symptoms. Symptoms, which are the particular symptoms, that is symptoms related to parts or organ. But in that, all the particular symptoms or symptoms related to part, any disease condition, we should consider only, or we should give importance only to the characteristic symptom or uncommon symptom, the symptom that cannot be explained, symptoms with clear modalities. These are the important symptoms according to homeopathy. The symptoms which cannot be explained by the patient, or which are the uncommon symptoms of that disease condition, and the symptoms with clear modalities, the symptoms having the clear aggravating factors as well as clear ameliorating factors. So these symptoms we should give importance. So this is the way how we give importance to the symptoms while working on the case, especially while doing analysis and evaluation of the symptoms. We should analyze and evaluate symptoms when we are repertorizing, when we are going to repertorize with the Kent's repertory. Then in this order or in this sequence we have to analyze as well as we have to repertorize the evaluate the symptoms. So these are the Kent's concept of analysis and evaluation of symptoms, why to make the proper totality of the symptoms. Then what is the philosophical background behind Kent's repertory? So during or before Dr. Kent's time, many repertories are there. The repertories of Dr. Boning Hussain, Lippe were commonly used for working out the cases. Dr. Kent, he went through all these repertories and also the many literatures present before his times, that means that are Bigler's diary, Minton's diseases of women, Jar's repertory, all these repertories and all literatures before his time, he go through all those material, and he liked the form and characteristic of Lippe's repertory, but he was not satisfied with the rubrics and number of medicines whatever used the repertories in the repertories before his time. So he thought that to write down his own index of symptom. and while writing his index of symptom, he gave importance to general symptoms and then he go towards the particular symptoms. So he found that the logic of the homeopathic system of medicine was not properly followed in finding out the simillimum. In many repertories which he go through, they gave importance to the parts of body or organs. And Dr. Kent was not at all satisfied with their concept or with how they gave importance to the part of the body or organ. According to Dr. Kent, as we previously discussed, that his basic concept of Dr. Kent is man is prior to the organ. Man is the what is man? Man is nothing but the will, the understanding, and the house in which he lives in is his body. So, the man, when we say the man is ill, the person is ill, means not his part or his body or his organ was ill, but his mind, his understanding, and his whole body, all they are not feeling well or they are ill, not his one part or organ is ill. So Kent repertory is based on the philosophy of deductive logic. So what is deductive logic? Deductive logic is nothing but we give first importance to general symptoms and from general to we go towards the particular. So the in according to Dr. Kent, we should give importance first to general symptom and then we go towards the particular symptoms. So his philosophy also his repertory is also based on the same philosophy, and he arranged his repertory according to the same philosophy, according to the philosophy of deductive logic. Under the chapter mind, mental generals are given. So the arrangement of his repertory is also according to his philosophy only. Under the first section in his repertory is mind, because he gave more importance to the mental general symptoms. So in his repertory, the arrangement of his repertory is also according to his concept, and the first section in his repertory is mind, and under mind chapter the all the mental general symptoms they are given. Then the physical general symptoms, most of the physical general symptoms, not all, because some physical generals they are scattered in between in other sections also, in other chapters also, but most of the physical generals they are covered or listed under the section generalities, and this generalities section was the last section in the Kent repertory. So in the Kent repertory there are about 648 medicines which are totally included in the Kent repertory, and there are 37 sections or chapters. Actually, there are 33 sections, and there are urinary organs which have 5 subsections. So, it may be it is counted as 37 because these subsections are counted separately. So according to some homeopath there are 33 sections, and some count these subsections as a separate section. So there are 30, according to some homeopath there are 37 sections in this repertory. And there are, if you go through the repertory, if you have seen the repertory, then there are some grooves, and out of these 37 sections the 30 sections are under grooves. Then in this repertory there are about 1423 pages. So these we will discuss later in the plan and arrangement of the repertory. So in this repertory it contains only 648 drugs, and he has used three varieties of typography to indicate the gradations. So he introduced, or he gave the three gradations, three type of typography, so that we can find out the which medicines have more important in that symptom. So the most important medicines are 3-mark medicines. They are written in the bold letter in repertory. If when you go through the repertory, then you found some medicines are written in bold letters, some medicines are written in italic, and some medicines they are written in Roman letters. So the bold letter medicines, they are 3-mark or more important medicines of that symptom, and they are written in they are of first grade. Then the some medicines we found in italic in front of a rubric, and they are of 2 marks, that means the second graded medicines. And some medicines they are of ordinary, or they are written in ordinary Roman letters and having 1 mark, that is third grade. Now these are the grades, but how Dr. Kent he decided which medicine is of 3 mark, which medicine is of 2 mark, which medicine we should give 1 mark? What is the criteria behind these gradations? So there is also some fixed definite criteria how he gave the grades to the medicines in his repertory. So the first grade symptoms, they are felt strongly by all the provers or majority of provers, and frequently confirmed by curing whenever administered. They are confirmed and verified. So the first grade symptoms, when we give the first grade to the medicines, or when we write down the medicine name in bold letter in front of some rubric, when the during proving, while proving one medicine is proved on many persons at the different places at the same time, and while drug proving, when many provers or all provers or majority of provers they gave the symptom strongly, as well as while treating the patient, when we give that medicine, then we get the recovery of the patient, then we said that this was the confirmed and verified medicine for that symptom. So it is written in the repertory in first grade or in bold letters. Then the second grade symptoms or second grade medicines, they are written in the repertory in italic, and while proving, it have been brought out by few provers, which are not confirmed but occasionally verified. Means while drug proving, few provers they gave the symptoms and it was not confirmed, means, and occasionally verified, means sometimes while in during clinic or while treating the patient, sometimes according to similarity, when we prescribe the medicine, then sometimes we get the result, we get the relief from that symptom when we prescribe according to similimum. Means it was not confirmed as well as all the times it was verified, but it was occasionally verified. So second grade symptoms, they have been brought out by a few provers which are not confirmed but occasionally verified. Then the third grade symptoms, these are brought out by provers now and then, are not confirmed by reproving but verified by curing patient, hence accepted as clinical symptoms. Means the third grade symptoms, they are occasionally confirmed by proving, reproving, but they are verified by curing patients, and hence it is accepted as a clinical symptom. And so it was not getting, we doesn't get the symptom while drug proving, and we only get the results in the after prescribing the medicine. That is also uh, not always or not confirmed. So it was written in the Roman letters, or it was given the third grade in the repertory. So the criteria of giving gradations, or the criteria of writing down the different typography in the repertory, how he has given the different typography to different medicines, and what is the criteria of writing down the medicines in different typography. Understand? So the first grade symptoms, they are felt once we revise all the criteria or all the gradations how Dr. Kent was given. The first grade symptoms, they are felt strongly by all provers or majority of provers, and it was frequently confirmed in the clinic or when we administered medicine to the patient. So it was confirmed and verified. So the medicines they have given or written in the bold letters, and they have given the first grade in the repertory. Then the second grade medicines, the symptoms, they are brought by few provers after drug proving, during drug proving, and it was not confirmed every time but occasionally it was verified. So it was written in italic, and we gave him the drug as a second grade. And the third grade symptoms, they are sometimes brought out during drug proving or reproving. It was not confirmed during reproving also, but verified by curing patients. But when we prescribe the medicine, then the patient felt better, so it was verified during the while treating the patient, while curing the patient, and hence it is called as a clinical symptom. Or these medicines are written in ordinary language or in Roman language, and it was given the first grade by Dr. Kent in his repertory. Sorry. So in this way, the grades are given, the three grades are given by Dr. Kent in his repertory. Before Dr. Kent's time, Dr. Boning Hussain, he gave the 5 grades to the medicines in his repertory. But to avoid the confusion, the Dr. Kent, he simplified the gradations and he gave only 3 grades in his repertory. So in this way, the first, second and third grade, that is bold, italic and ordinary, in ordinary language or in ordinary typography, the medicines are written in the repertory. So once we revise all the philosophical background once again, so Dr. Kane, he was the he like all the concepts of homeopathy, and he find out the results of the homeopathy, so he converted towards the homeopathy. But when he go through the all the repertories as well as all the literatures present before his time, especially all the repertories, when he go through, he was not satisfied with the utility of repertories available in his time or before his time. And in those repertory he found that the logic of homeopathy to find out the simillimum was not properly followed, because according to Dr. Hahnemann also, we should give importance first to man, not his body parts or his organs or his disease condition. We should first consider the man. But this concept of homeopathy, this logic of homeopathy, which was not followed properly in these, while writing down those repertories which were present before his time, and in those repertory they gave importance to the parts or organs of the body. According to Dr. Kent, we should give importance first to general symptoms, and in order to understand a person, his expressions, his emotions at the level of general, uh, must be noticed and relied upon, because the man first give first the expressions which was felt at the general level, at the mental general, at the physical general. So these are the most important and relied things in the while case taking or while treating the person. The symptoms which are noticed, we notice at the level of part, which come in the next order of importance after the general symptoms, or lastly we should consider the symptoms related to parts or organ, because according to Dr. Kent, man is prior to the organ. And sorry, what is man? Man is the will, the understanding, his memory, the house which he lives in is his body. So we should treat the man, not his organs or not his part or not his disease. And always when there is deviation in the state of health of a person, it was expressed on the part, it was expressed externally in the form of disease condition. So these deviations can be known through expressions at the level of general symptoms. Mostly when there are any deviations, then we get, or it was expressed by the patient at the general level. So according to Dr. Kent, we should give importance to general symptoms first, and in that he again grouped the general symptoms into mental general and physical general. In that we should give first importance to mental general. This is also we discussed previously. In mental general we should give first importance to will, then we should give importance to understanding, and then to the memory of the patient. In will, we should give first importance to the symptoms related to his anger, his irritability, love, then hate, fear, grief, anxiety, and sadness. Then, in understanding, we should give importance to hallucinations, illusion, absorb, confusion, dullness, and in memory, after will understanding, we should give importance to absent-minded. If there are any changes in the memory, state of memory, then which are nothing like absent mindedness, forgetful, mistakes in writing, mistakes in speaking, then speech disorders, if there present any type of speech disorders. In this way we should give importance to mental general symptoms. Then we go towards the physical general symptoms. In physical general symptoms, we should consider first the symptoms related to or perversion of the sexual sphere. In that we should consider the menstrual symptoms. If there is general aggravation before, during, and after menses, effects of coition, etc. Then secondly we considered the symptoms related to appetite, food desire, aversion, thirst. Then we should consider the things affecting the entire body, his thermal state especially, or the thing affecting the entire body like weather, temperature, food, position, motion. Then symptoms of special sense. In this way we should consider the or give importance to the symptoms. Then in the Kent repertory there are about 33 sections in this Kent repertory, but the urinary organ, this section is having 5 subsections, so they are considered as a separate sections. So there are total 37 sections in the repertory, and included 648 medicines in the repertory. He also added many rubrics in his repertory as well as many drugs in his repertory, because in the previous repertories there are very less number of rubrics as well as very less number of medicines were added in the previous medicines were present in the previous repertory. Then for easy practical use, to avoid the confusion especially of the beginners, he used only 3 varieties of typography to indicate the gradation of remedies. The bold letter, in the bold letter, the first grade medicines or 3 mark medicines are written. The first grade medicines, they are medicines which are felt strongly by the all provers or majority of provers during drug proving. It was frequently confirmed by curing whenever the drug was administered, and they have been recorded, confirmed, and verified symptoms, verified medicines in that particular symptom. So they are given the first grade in the repertory and they are written in the bold letters. Then the second grade medicines, they are written in the italic letters in the repertory. And the second grade symptoms, they have been brought out by a few provers and which are not confirmed, but it was occasionally verified in the clinic or during while treating the patient. So these are given the second grade in the repertory, or they are written in the italic typography. They have given the 2 marks while repertorizing. We count the total markings of the medicines, so they are given the 2 marks. Then the third grade medicines, they are written in the ordinary letters or in the Roman typography in repertory. These symptoms, these third grade symptoms, they are brought out by provers now and then. Now and then, occasionally, the provers get the symptoms after reproving also, and they are not also confirmed during reproving. Occasionally, during reproving also, we get that symptom occasionally in that medicine, but they have been verified by curing patient and hence accepted as a clinical symptoms. So as a clinical symptom, though it was not verified during reproving, confirmed during reproving, but clinically it was accepted, it cures the patient, and so as a clinical symptom it was included in the repertory and it is written in the ordinary or Roman typography. So in this way, this is all about the Kent introductory part of Kent repertory, how Dr. Kent he was converted towards homeopathy, though he was the allopathic physician. Then how he converted towards homeopathy, then how he write down his own repertory, why he write down his own repertory, then which things he was not satisfied with the literatures or with the repertories which were present before his time, and which things he make changes, in which thing he make changes, which things are added or included in his repertory, what is the philosophical background of Dr. Kent's repertory. This is all about we discussed. Then in the next lecture we discuss about the plan and construction of Kent repertory. So as we discussed, the Kent repertory, it is based on the deductive logic. That means Dr. Kent, he gave more importance to the generals and then he gave importance to the particulars. So the arrangement of the repertory, the construction of the repertory is also in the same way according to his philosophy. As I told before that there are 37 sections or chapters in this repertory. Out of these 37 sections, the 30 sections are in grooves, under grooves. When you go through the repertory, you found that there are grooves in the Kent repertory, so that we can easily easily open with less effort. We can easily find out the section which we want to search the rubric. So for our easy purpose, while during practice or during clinic, so there are grooves which are given in the Kent repertory and 30 sections are under grooves. In this repertory there are about 1423 pages, and these pages are arranged in double columns, and the rubrics are arranged in the same way in double columns on each page. The first section in this repertory is mind, and the last section in this repertory is generalities. So number of medicines in Kent repertory are 648 medicines. These medicines 648, don't get confused, but for as per abbreviations there are 648 medicines, but actually there are 642 medicines in this repertory which are included. So don't get confused, the number of medicines are 648. Okay, so in this repertory the maximum number of rubrics which are present in the mind section and the largest section in the Kent repertory was generalities. So it was most of the time the question asked, especially for during oral examination, that is, which section is the largest section in the Kent repertory. So the answer is extremities, sorry, not generalities. Extremities section is the largest section in the or chapter in the Kent's repertory, and the maximum number of rubrics are present in the section mind. So many times the students, they get confused, and many students, they think that the mind section is the largest section, but maximum number of rubrics, they are present in this section, in the section mind. And the large section in Kent repertory is extremities section. Then the smallest section in the Kent repertory is prostate gland. Okay, so the smallest section in the Kent repertory is prostate gland. The largest section in Kent repertory is extremities section. The maximum number of rubrics present in the section mind, and the minimum number of rubrics present in the section hearing. In section hearing there are only 4 rubrics, that is lowest number of rubric we found in this section hearing in Kent repertory. So don't get confused. This was usually asked question in the oral examination, that which is the longest or which is the longest section, largest section, which is the smallest section, which section or which chapter is having maximum number of rubrics, which chapter is having less number of rubrics. So the chapter extremities is the largest chapter in the Kent repertory. The chapter hearing is the smallest section or chapter in the Kent repertory. Then the maximum number of rubrics which are present in the mind section and the minimum number of rubrics are present in the section hearing. I think maximum number of rubrics they are present in mind, minimum number of rubrics they are present in hearing section, largest section is extremity, smallest section is prostate gland. Okay, so don't get confused. Largest section is extremities, smallest section is prostate gland. Maximum number of rubrics are in mind section and minimum number of rubrics are in hearing section. In hearing section there are only 4 rubrics we found in hearing section, and there is no blank rubric or no cross reference in the hearing section. So this is then how the Kent repertory was planned. There are many repertories by various authors in different plans and styles, but Kent repertory is the only one which has written according to the scheme of Hahnemann. So it was universally accepted. The plan followed throughout is from general to particular. We discussed earlier, it starts with mind section. The last chapter or section is generalities, which contain physical modalities. Rest of the chapters are based on anatomical division, followed by function or discharges. Then the chapters in between mind and generalities, the chapters they are related to particular parts or organs of the body, then and their functions or discharges. There are altogether 33 sections, out of which one is on urinary organ. This particular chapter has 5 divisions. So in this way we discussed all these things, and in this repertory the plan followed from general to particular. Then, as we said that there are 37 sections including the 5 subsections of the urinary organ, but this was up to 6th edition of Kent's final general repertory, and it gave independent status to smell and voice. In Kent's final general repertory, it gives independent status. There are separate sections on smell and voice. So in the 6th edition of Dr. Smith, there are 39 sections. But afterwards, Jost Kunzli, in Kent's Repertorium Generale, he put special senses under their respective organs. Thus, he reduced the total number of chapters to 27 by putting vision under eyes, hearing under ears. As in the previous edition, the functions or discharges they are written separately, but what Dr. Jost Kunzli done, he reduced the total number of sections and putting vision under eyes, hearing under ears, and out of total sections he reduced the number of sections or chapters to 27. But this is about the final general repertory, and Kent's Repertorium Generale. But in the Kent Repertory up to the 6th edition, there are 37 sections in the Kent Repertory which we are using, and there are many anatomical parts, that is head, which contains rubrics on all parts of head, that is forehead, occiput, temple, vertex, brain, meninges. So how it was given according to anatomical part we discuss in the next lecture. So in detail in the next lecture we discuss about plan and construction of the Kent Repertory. Thank you.